So, hello, everybody. Here we are together to talk about 2025 cosmic chaos, but it's a such great opportunity for people. So I'm super excited to be here with Krista Grasso. I'm going to go through do a quick intro because we should, right? So I'm going to introduce myself, then Krista. So here I am. I'm Kim Woods. I'm a master astrologer and business strategist. I'm actually the trusted authority for the new era because here we are. We're in a new era, uncharted territory, and being able to navigate in these times requires your soul to lead. And when you have your soul leading, you are become rich and powerful, you make big impact, you leave your legacy, and that's what I'm all about. And then I am here with one of my favorite people. She's I'm going to just say the scaling strategist ever, Krista Grasso. She's also an operations alchemist. She's the founder of the Simplify to Scale method. She's the founder of the Lean Out method. She's the founder of the Lean Out method podcast. She's got a new certification, Strategic Ops Institute. I mean, okay, Krista, I don't think that you create enough things, but the big important thing is that you actually help your clients scale, and they have a quality of life, they have a business that is not too heavy, and they're able to live a rich and fulfilled life. So, hello, Krista. Welcome today.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here today. This is going to be such a fantastic talk.
Yeah, I know. So we're gonna talk about 2025. Here we are at the top of the year, and here's the deal. When I say uncharted territory, I mean uncharted territory. I mean that no one on earth has been in these energies ever, because these energies are in a 200-year expanse. So I don't know anybody who's 200 years old. So I just don't. Call me crazy, but I don't. And so no one in our lifetime has done it. So we don't know how to navigate. And this is why I'm here. I want to talk to you about how your mind can gain some certainty. We'll give you that dopamine hit that you'll have when you learn about what's going on with the stars. But it's really a time for the soul to lead. That's really the key difference. And when you think about the soul, we're going to be talking soul mission, soul destiny. We're going to be talking about your energy. We're going to be talking about intuition development. We're going to be talking about you being so in tune to you that you're guiding your own direction and not relying on other people and not relying on other external validation. And right now we're going through kind of a time where we're not really that great about having our soul lead because we're out of practice. Our mind has been leading so much, but when we have the soul lead, then we have the stars await, then we have success that follows. And that's just the formula that works. And so I am so excited to start talking about all the things, but first I want to gather everybody's energy. I want to pick an oracle card. So what do we think? What do we think we're going to jive with? What do the people here? What are their souls? What are they yearning for? So let me just pick an oracle card. Let's connect to everybody's soul who's here. Let's just see what we're getting. Oh, okay, Krista. Can't make this stuff up. Can't make it up. It's flow. Okay, full disclosure. Full disclosure. Part of Krista's method is about structured flow. So, Krista, can we make this stuff up?
I love it. I feel like that is so perfect for everything you've shared so far about 2025.
True. Yes, you're right. Like, because think about this. Let's like go into the energy of flow, right? Because people think like flow, once I just get in tune, then everything will flow. Yes, but not yes, because we're talking about 2025. Yes, it is filled with opportunity, but there's a precision that's required and an alignment that's required. And so when we think about flow, if we're in the wrong flow, it's not awesome. And I love how you talk about the percent trajectory. You want to just talk about that just for very briefly?
Yeah, for structured flow.
Yeah.
When I think about it, right, some of us tend to be more structured people, some of us tend to be more flow people, really, like by the way that we like to work, by the way we like to make decisions, lead our days, lead our teams, right? But that being said, you have to have a balance of both. You can't ever be too far skewed into one or the other, because without structure, flow becomes chaotic. It doesn't feel freeing. It actually sometimes feels so chaotic, you almost don't know how to make a decision. It's like analysis paralysis, because you're like, I could do anything, so I do nothing, right? So you need some structure which allows you to be in flow successfully. But at the same time, if you're too structured without any flow, that can feel really constraining. And I feel like you're not able to necessarily listen to your intuition or play to your strength. So it has to be that balance, and you ebb and flow between them. So I would say if you are ever more than 80% on one side, um, you probably want to look at that, because you're probably cutting off some possibilities for yourself.
You say it beautifully. I love how you explain that because that's literally the energies. We've been dancing in these two, remember, like 2024, we can say last year now. Yay, right? Hooray. Right? When I kept talking to everybody about like filling the core, that's what you're talking about with structure, right? Like really get solid in that, but then to really expand your edges because you want to have that growth, you want to have that ease or abundance or whatever your intentions are, right? So there we were saying the same thing, we're just using different language. And I wanted to illuminate that because there are people out there that are going to understand your wording versus my wording. And I want to be able to make sure that people are in their best position to be able to receive this information today. Because we're going to get the big dopamine hit because I'm going to talk to you about dates and I'm going to talk to you about what the planets are. I'm going to talk to you what they mean. I'm going to look at your stars. Like we're going to get so much information. And yet, if we just have the information, it's mildly interesting. Right? Because, it's like a dopamine hit, right? It's like, oh, great, my mind knows. But I always say, like, who cares? What are you going to do with it? Like, unless you do something with it, it's mildly interesting. But we're going to explore, right? We're going to go to that mildly interesting place. So we have 5 planets that are changing signs between November 19th, that we've already passed, so the November 19th, 2024, through July 7th, 2025. I couldn't find in history when they had all done that in that short of a period. Doesn't mean they didn't. I just couldn't find it. So again, another reason why we're in uncharted territory. Not only are these signs some of them we haven't felt or seen or known for 250 years, or 165 years, or 84 years, depending on what planet we're talking about. That's a long time. That's a very long time. And so when we have that, what does that mean? Like, why do we care if an outer planet is changing signs? Why we care is because that's what's happening in the world. So if we're looking at economics, if we're looking at business trends, if we're looking at offerings we want to make, if we're looking at our audience and what they're responding to, the stars are the first indicator that give us the information. So you're a strategist, I'm a strategist. We like to look out, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I love to have an idea of what's coming, because I feel like it allows us to be proactive instead of reactive. And I think without people paying attention to what you're saying in this call, they run a very high risk of being reactive unintentionally, because they aren't going to be prepared for what's coming.
Exactly. No, 100%. And that's the thing. So when our minds know, that's great. That is the first step. But then again, what are we doing to integrate it? What are we doing to allow our energies to be aligned? Because the precision is so incredibly sharp and fine-tuned. What was your word of the year?
Integration.
Integration, right? And so when you think about that, that's what we're really looking at to ensure that it's almost like the head of a pin though, which isn't awesome because that head of a pin, you're like, what if I'm not on the pin? And that's what the stars will help you to do. And actually your soul knows whether you're going in the right direction or not. So let's just talk about like I'm going to talk about right now. So right now we are in, and people, I can't tell you how many people have asked me if we're still in Mercury retrograde. We're not, but so many people ask me that. Why? Because we're still in this retrograde cycle. Mars happens to be retrograde. Venus is going to go retrograde March 1st. Mercury is going to go retrograde again. So we've been in a retrograde scenario. Personally, it's felt like very much in our face since the end of November. And we've got this 6-month block, and we don't normally have that. But here's the gift of that. This is helping us be more quiet. It's helping us listen. It's helping us hear how our soul wants to talk to us. intuition, that by the way, right? So just to let you know. And so we can gather ourselves, because once we get to March 30th, that is a massive wake-up call. And we are going to be moving at the speed of light by the time we get to the beginning of July. Like legit the speed of light. So I did what yesterday when we were in our group, right? Didn't I say that we are going to be thankful, looking back yearningly on this time? And everybody's kind of giving me the face, right? Because if we've got this 200-year scenario going on, then we have this situation where we don't understand. We don't have any comprehension, and our minds want to read information. So this is what we're going to tell you right now. Pluto has gone into Aquarius, where Pluto is going to stay there from 2024 to 2044. It's 20 years. Aquarius, we haven't had Pluto in Aquarius since the American Revolution. So no one's alive at this point, right? So you probably heard me talk a lot about this. This is about freedom. This is about individuation. This is about you riding that powerful cosmic wave of your own originality, right? That feels really, really good. So think about this. I'm doing comparisons with movies, right? So think about it like Pluto, though. That sounds really luscious and delicious, but how do you ride your own power wave? You overcome every single thing that's ever scared you to death, right? So I've equated this to John Wick, right? So who's seen a John Wick movie, right? It's like holy crap. In like a 90-second scenario, it's like everybody is gone, right? So yeah, literally that's Pluto. Pluto literally churns everything. So this is what we've been grappling with since 2022. So the intensity is from 2022 to like 2026. So the good news is we've already halfway through, right? And we're still alive. So we're on maybe John Wick 3 at this point, right? And we'll never get to John Wick 4. It
As
will be
long as we're
fine.
not John Wick, we're okay.
Exactly, right. So, and then on March 30th, we've got the next round coming in, which I am talking about. It's Neptune moving into Aries, and I'm talking about it being a wake-up call. And if anybody has seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, yes, I'm dating myself, right? But Spicoli, where he's just like dude in the van, smoking his doobies, just doing stuff, just like chilling. He is just the chill man. Doesn't care about school, doesn't care about missing anything, doesn't really care about anything. We have been in that energy for the last 14 years. So since 2011, we've been we can just talk ourselves out of things mattering. We can like deceive ourselves. We don't know what's real. We don't know what's fake, right? And so as of March 30th, all of a sudden, Mr. Hand comes in and he's like, get to class. You've now missed, like, so imagine Spicoli being like 30 and he's still in high school. That's what this is like. And it's actually supported. Mr. Ham really comes in May when Saturn also goes into Aries. So Mr. Ham literally is like up your butt, making sure that you make everything real. You keep it real. You know what your priorities are. You're actually doing work. You're working, you're making effort. You're really making choice. You're giving some things up because you're giving up the surf, and the van time, right? Like so that you can get to work. So these are like the first three big energies that I'm talking about. I'm not even done. Then we do have some good news. We have Santa Claus coming in, giving us beautiful support at the beginning of June, like the most beautiful support for our finances, for how we feel at home with ourselves, for how we're valuing our businesses. Like, so this is like manna from heaven. So it's like, whew. So June is a really good month. And then we have the beginning of July. The beginning of July comes in and it's Uranus and Gemini. And Uranus hasn't been in Gemini in 84 years. The last time Uranus was in Gemini was during the World War II time frame. Last time Neptune was in Aries was during the Civil War. Like, do people hear what I'm saying? Like, and then like spinning these together. Yet there's such huge opportunity here when we are precise, like when we have that structured flow, when we have that precision and alignment, because Uranus and Gemini, for any Geminis out there, like, oh my goodness, this is like the best thing ever. And I'm equating it to Tony Stark of Iron Man. Like super genius, super innovative, and can make things happen. So which one do you feel would you be your favorite planet Krista?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I mean, I'm going Tony Stark for sure as far as where
Well,
I'd choose if I was getting to choose.
right? Yeah, that's the thing. You get to choose, right? So let's choose because for you, you're so innovative, right? So really aligning, being very precise about aligning with that Uranus energy and that Uranus time frame. So for you, that's like that just literally goes right with your energy, right?
Mhm.
We'll talk about your signature in a few moments, but just even talking about how innovative you are. You're just so innovative. Like, of course he's going to be your guy,
Yeah, that would make sense.
right?
I'm like, can I get a cool suit where I could fly around too? I'll take that. Who's got one of
I
those for
know.
me?
Isn't that so awesome? That's so awesome. Yeah. So what's been going on? I'm going to go into your stars right now. I'm going to go into your stars. And so everybody, this is what Krista's stars look like.
Fun,
And
fun.
so when I do the star peak, I had promised a star peak. I haven't done one of these for 18 months. Last time I did one was with you
Huh,
to start
okay,
off that
that's fun.
series that you were talking about, right? That was the summer of 2023. So last time I
Mhm.
did these live. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
Yeah.
That was when you and I kind of first met. So look at us now.
I know. I know. And you had that beautiful idea. I was asking about the podcast and I didn't know what I wanted to do or if I should do it or I wanted to test things. And you came up with that beautiful example of, hey, you know what? Why don't you test out on LinkedIn and do a series of lives and do some star peaks and do some things that you would normally do and think of and just find out if people care about it. Like find out if that's going to be a thing for you. And then everybody loved it. Everybody went cuckoo pants over it. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm doing a podcast. Think I'm on we just launched episode 135. I think I've recorded up through 145
In such a short period of time. That's wild. And
in a
it's
year.
amazing.
And and here we are. But this is where innovation, right? So I went into this example on purpose because yes, you had that really good idea, but you'll construct behind the idea. Think if Tony Stark was just out there just like thinking of good ideas and never did anything about it.
Right.
He wouldn't be flying around in a great suit,
Mm-hmm.
right? It wouldn't be awesome
True.
sauce. True. So this is where that structured flow comes back in, where we can see that there's lots of opportunity. We can understand and appreciate, we can plan our strategy around that. But if we don't take the time to actually curate the opportunity or to actually make sure that there's something in terra firma about it, then it's just an opportunity that's mildly interesting. Right. So
I
your
remember one
star.
time, if I could tell a really quick story,
Oh,
somebody came to
absolutely.
me with this idea back when I had my jewelry brand and I was manufacturing and creating a lot of product. They were like, I have this incredible idea. It's something that you need to do. And here's the thing, I'll give you the idea. We'll be 50-50 partners. And I'm like, okay, cool. And what are you doing for 50-50 partnership? Well, I came up with the idea. I was like, okay. And like, are you going to help run the business? Are you, well, no, you would do all that. I have the idea. And I'm like, it's not 50% of the business. Like the idea, I'm sorry, that's not really worth much
Right.
because there's the whole like have to build the entire business, buy all the product, sell all the product, run the entire business. But they really thought that just because they had the idea, that was the thing. But I think as entrepreneurs in general, people can fool themselves into thinking, I've got the idea, I'm super innovative, this is amazing. But without the execution and making it real, it doesn't get very far other than a little bit of excitement at the time of having it, and then it just falls flat.
And that's exactly the dopamine hit I'm talking about. Like when you learn about the stars, it's like it's interesting. I always say it's like mildly interesting because that's great. Like your mind might remember, oh, okay, March 30th, big deal. July 7th, big deal. Okay, there's going to be quiet in the first quarter. It's going to be really busy in the second quarter, and then the last half of the year, it's going to be like vroom vroom off to the races we go. Great. Knowing that is really good. Are you going to construct your success map on this? Are you going to actually know what your energy is and let your soul lead so you have that precision and that alignment? That's the key. That's honestly the key. And so I want to dive into your stars a little bit. Okay. So right now, everybody in the world is going through this Plutonian, like, what's my future look like? How can I make it go? And Aquarius wants things to happen immediately. Like one of the most impatient signs ever. Gemini's right there with you. But honestly, Aries too, like the three most impatient signs, but we're in Aquarius right now. So Aquarius, right now, Mars is beating the crap out of Pluto and Pluto is beating the crap out of Mars. So we've got the god of hell and we've got the god of war smacking each other upside the head. And what is it like for us? I call it threading the needle. It's like I'm just going to get through all this time. Like I've called it threading the needle. I've also called it pressurized power. I've called it the diamond core view, like we're literally grinding you down to dust to become the most brilliant form of yourself. Doesn't feel good. Everybody's going through it. And for you, we've already talked about this. For you, it's about using your voice and getting on stages and beautifully recognizing how your original methodologies have an international range,
Mhm.
right? So that feels really good, I bet.
Definitely. Yeah, that aligns very much with what I'm doing and with what I want to do much more of.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because that Pluto and Aquarius for you, where it hits on in your stars, it's your original creations are getting ready for the world.
Hmm.
And but the other side of the equation, the world is actually ready for your individual original creations.
Hmm. And
That
I
feels
believe
really good.
literally it is the time where the world is ready for it because without it, so many businesses are going to be in seriously rough shape. Like it's like that perfect timing where I feel like everything has come together where people are actually going to stop and listen and be seeking what I'm sharing.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, I do. And honestly, your stars are telling you that. Like literally, that's the message from your stars. And when we look at that big wake up call, when I talked about Spicoli finally wakes up, he gets out of the van and he's like, dude, I'm in school and now I'm 30, right? And then Mr. Hand goes, yeah, and you're late and you owe library dues and you owe this and you owe that and you owe this, right? So that timing is the end of March to the middle of May. But honestly, these are going to last for the next 14 years, right? Like this is a long energy that we're going to be able to utilize. And it's about getting real. And for you, it's a massive success push for you to be on big stages.
Hmm.
And really, really from that strategic influence perspective, being able to give that voice and being able to give that example and tangible, like underpinning. And then this large audience and future orientation in like-minded communities. I'm so excited for you.
I'm excited too. And then there's that practical aspect of, right, integration, my word for this year, right? So, how do I integrate the space to make that happen? Because I could
Exactly.
easily go the whole year and still be thinking, oh, you know what would have been really interesting? So, it's like knowing that it's the integration of how do I tactically create space in my schedule to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so this is where I always love to think about like support and opportunity, right? So do I have enough support to then take advantage of opportunities? I'm going to talk about our success signatures in a few moments. And so I'll just give a little glimmer right now. Krista and I are both intuitive visionaries. Our biggest thing for 2025 is to be able to curate opportunities.
Hmm.
I'm going to go through everybody's signature and after we finish this part of this. And the reason why that's so important is because energetically we want to align with things, right? So if you're not energetically aligned, then you could be like me, or if I'm not energetically aligned, okay, right before Christmas, I had gone through the 35 speaking engagements that I had initiated in May when I had said, I wish I had speaking engagements. I got 35 that came in within 2 weeks, and it took me until the end of December to be able to materialize these. And I only had like two or three that got put off, they got rescheduled. Well, then I said, right at the Christmas week, I said, I really wish that I had some speaking and some opportunities of groups and engagement. I have 57 of them. I misspoke when I said yesterday I had 45. I actually organized them last night. I have 57. 57. So think about that. That's like five a month or six a month, right? So curating those, making sure that they string together, making sure they make sense, making sure I'm really strategic about doing those. For you, that word is integration. For me, that word is precision.
Hmm.
So yeah, but we're talking about your stars. Jupiter is going to be in Cancer for you, for everybody on June 9th, but for you, it's in your house of money. And Jupiter is the money guy. How does
Like
that feel?
Jupiter.
Yeah. Hello, Jupe. It's going to be there. He's going to be there for 1 full year.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And there'll be a little bit of bravery that's going to be required from you when we get to probably like the December timeframe. And so you want to just make sure that you've got things in lockstep and like you're going to have like a big gulp in that December timeframe. And you're going to be like this, okay.
Bring it.
Yeah. Now you can say bring it because it's 11 months away, but then you're going to be like, okay, we'll get you ready. Don't worry, we'll get you ready. And honestly, that Uranus and Gemini for you is in this lightning bolt of innovative success, but there is a hidden element of it. There is a spiritual element to it. So it's for you to be really in tune with your soul.
Mhm.
So, our minds can say we want something, but our soul is going to be kicking our pants.
Oh yeah. And if I let myself, my mind will take over every single time. So
Most people, right? That's most of us. Because I love like, so I'm just having like, I would love for you to tell two short little stories, right? Because we've been preparing for this for a while, right? So about Strategic Ops Institute, how you just had to do it.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, Strategic Ops Institute is my new brand that I launched in October. And it is a brand that I had wanted to launch for about 18 months. And the timing just did not end up happening. There were like these big life events that kept happening, and these things that, I mean, I am a planner, so I am really strategic in how I approach things and how I do things. And it felt like that thing that just could not happen. Like, I don't know if you've ever had those things in
Yeah.
business where it's like the thing that you want most, and somehow it's like roadblock, roadblock, roadblock. And I finally hit last year and I had another roadblock that was really a pretty big one. And I looked at it and I was like, nope, I'm launching. I'm launching now. I don't care if the launch doesn't look like what I want it to look like. I energetically need to move this forward and get this out into the world. And I know that it is time that businesses need this so badly that I am launching this now. And so I made the decision to do it. I made the decision to do it in October. I barely promoted it. I barely talked about it because of a lot of the personal stuff that I had going on at the time. And I was like, it's okay. I'm still moving forward and I'm launching. And I had my most successful launch that I've had in years, ironically enough.
This is because your soul was like, wouldn't shut up about it, right? Like your soul was like, I am driving the train here, and it doesn't matter what's happening in your life. It doesn't matter what your mind is telling you. This is what it means to be led by your soul. And
Mm-hmm.
your soul is going to make things work out for you. Like that's just what's going to happen, right? There's that flow that comes in. And it just absolutely works beautifully. So yeah, we'll talk about the stage in just a minute because I do want to go through the magic triangle that's being set up. So here we are, we focused on 2025, which of course, and I just gave people the kind of the overview of the year, and I talked about the major star shifts because those are the biggest things that are going to affect people, right? But there is this beautiful support that is coming together that we also have never seen. And it's going to be really intense between 2024 and 2028, but it extends through the early 2030s. So again, you and I are strategists, right? So it's interesting, like, yes, let's get ready for 2025. It's been 8 days, right? Like here we are at the very beginning. But yet, when I look at the chaos in 2025, I wanted to widen the lens to say, where's our support coming from? Like, because again, if we have all these opportunities and we're not actually, they don't feel like opportunities, they feel too chaotic, they don't feel really good, we're not able to really manifest them. Is there something in the stars that are helpful to us? And there's, like I said, this beautiful triangle, and it's about like a quest for freedom. It's about that pioneering spirit to like break through to new ground. And it is about a spiritual awakening. This is where the soul, the new era is here. It's uncharted territory. The soul is going to lead, whether we say yes or not, right? Because also, we already talked about your structured flow, but also what happened during this time frame. In the same time from October, what did we do in Denver?
Seriously, we did one heck of a keynote on the stage at the beginning of October.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
100%. It was so amazing. And so you getting this push, not only to launch a brand new brand, but to keep the current brand going, to have your major client be like in a massive, deadline orientation. Oh, by the way, can you go do this amazing? You did a 2.5 hour workshop, which was awesome. And then we did something on the stage that people are still talking about.
Oh yeah. I mean, I get messages all the time about our keynote. Like it's everyone's like, when are you going to do more things together? Are you going to take this? Are you going to do it again? So,
That- I love that. And this is where, like, for you in particular, for your Star Peak, it's this hidden treasure that I mentioned before for finding yourself on large audiences in international arenas. And this is over a 4-year expanse. This is like a whole sea of opportunity for you.
love sea of opportunity.
Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? And honestly, letting your soul lead. So what does this mean? Don't succumb to hiding, because
Hmm.
there's like the flip side of visibility is hiding.
Hmm.
And then sorry, I'm just looking for my notes here. Don't be too distracted. Shiny object.
Me,
Ready?
hide, get distracted. I'm sorry, what? Um,
And don't get stretched too thin.
no, I would never.
Juggling the 2.5 hour workshop with the thing. Yeah, no, you never would do that.
No, never.
Because here's the thing with when our soul says yes, we are scared out of our wits and we are reluctant. We are going to drag our heels. It's like not our mind isn't the one to say, "Oh, yay, this is so good." So when people come to me and they say, "Yes, I'm living my soul mission," and I ask them, "Were you scared to death?" If they say no, I'm like, then that's mildly interesting. Again, with that phrase, it's because you're not you could be close, but you're not on it. Because if you are not shaking in your boots, if every single thing you've never wanted to do isn't hitting you in the face, it's not your soul mission. Just not.
Yep.
I know it kind of blows, but after you get over that fear, that's where you get that power wave. So this is the opportunity. So in 2025, there's going to be a lot of people hitting that fear smack in the face. And for those of us who have done a tremendous amount of work in this area, we are going to be able to help lead them through this time. So, yeah, I just want to talk about a client that I had who came to me. This is what happens. He came to me and he's like, I want to start my own business. And he was in the landscaping world and he had a boss that was total twit. And I looked at his stars and I said, you are not starting your own business. And I love entrepreneurship. His stars absolutely said he was an entrepreneur, but he was giving away his power so much that I said, if we do not clear your path around power, you're going to have terrible clients. You're not going to have people that support you on your team. You're not going to be able to delegate. You're going to be a reluctant leader that's not going to really step fully into your abilities and into your opportunity. When we then put you in leadership, which he was very reluctant to do, he didn't want to deal with people anymore. He was just sick of it. I'm like, if you don't step into leadership in your community and in your business, this is not going to work. So we had him put on his power pants every day. We did all this work for him because we needed him to face that fear of being a leader. And once we did, his first year, he made $250,000, and his second year he made $500,000.
Amazing. That is not so bad for year one and two in business. It probably would have been drop a zero if he had done that without you.
100%. And he was making his number, the biggest number he'd ever made was $75,000 a year. So we had to open him up to that too. And this is where his soul wanted it. And when I looked at his stars, I'm like, oh, soul's ready. He's not ready. So that's where that alignment comes in, because when your soul leads, that's when you're ready to actually go in and really start to be able to materialize what it is you're intending. Because that's what, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's mildly interesting. I love what you talked about with the idea. It's like mildly interesting if you have an idea, right? But when you actually get to the point where you understand your own energy, then you can be really making better attunements. And so we mentioned it before, Krista, we are both intuitive visionaries. And
Yes.
so what that means is that we enter the world through our ideas. And then we form things after that. So I know that there's at least if Iris is watching and Kelly Schneider's watching, then they're loving alchemists. I know that Katie Nelson's also an intuitive visionary. I don't know who else is watching, because during our kerfuffle, I was getting messages from them. So thank you, all of you, for helping us through this. Because again, we're live somewhere. So why does this matter? So we're going to drop the link, if you don't know your intuitive success signature, in the comments wherever we're live, and we're going to enable you to take this quiz, because in 12 questions, you can see how you enter the world. Because if your soul is there talking to you and you don't know how to listen to it, and you don't know how you make decisions, and you don't know how you're attracting people, and you don't know how you're utilizing your resources, you're going to be like Kevin, the landscaper that's like has a really crappy job that could have developed a really crappy business. So, how do you like being an intuitive visionary, my friend?
I love it. It fits me well. I mean, I'm just an idea generating machine, but I also have learned over the years, I'm such a weird human in that I'm like 50-50. So I feel like where people like have a right-hand person that they have these conversations with, I have this conversation in my own brain. It's exhausting. So I'm like, amazing. I need to look at when I can realistically do this. So this is the conversation that happens in my brain.
I
But
love it.
yes, I have no shortage of ideas, but I am usually really discerning. And as you said, curation, you used the word curation before. I
Yeah.
curate the things I actually commit to and move forward with. Because, oh gosh, my team, they would be in for a world of hurt if we actually had to jump on every idea I had.
I hear you. I hear you. I had a team that had to jump on every idea I had, and it didn't work out, right? So talking about 2025, and again, I could go through your sun signatures, and I do that in your soul driven success series. But for right here, right now, I want to go in through energetically, because again, we're talking about that flow and the alignment. And so for intuitive visionaries and loving alchemists, it's actually we're in the best position for the 2025 energies, which for us intuitive visionaries, it's been a hell of a long time since I could say that. It's been since forever. So for the intuitive visionary, get yourself on a lot of stages, regardless of what your stars are saying individually. I'm not just saying this because I said this to Krista. Intuitive visionaries, you're going to get a ton of opportunities, but it's the curation of each opportunity that really matters. As I'm looking at my 57, I'm not going to say yes to 57. I'm just not, right? It's just not a sustainable amount with the podcasts that I do and the articles that I write and the things that I do. It just doesn't make any sense. How can I weave them together and braid them together? Then I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to see how they come on. With Loving Alchemist, creating your own stage, which I went ad nauseum about in 2024. So you've been following me for a while, and you did. It's time to get real with your people, which is really good. For collaborative explorers and creative superstars, it's a solid year for you. Collaborative explorers, you want to focus on you and put yourself on center stage, whether you're on a panel, whether you're in a team, whatever your position is, you want to put yourself in the center. And then for creative superstars, you want to focus on the details. You want to commit to completing every single thing, because that completion, it gets boring. You don't like it. Try to find the magic that you can fuse in it, because you do want to do that. So sad to say, for wise strategists and ruling warriors, this is a tough year for you. I'm just going to say it. 2025 is not awesome sauce for you. For wise strategists, you can make it better when you move from that left brain and start opening your right brain, when you start developing that intuition. So think about observation and perception and imagination, and start having conversations with your intuition. And again, that soul driven success series would be perfect for you. And for ruling warriors, you can gain success by looking at the longer term. You will strive beautifully and you will get those achievements and those wins, but you're not open and really looking left to right to see who's with you. And it's really about the relationships that you're creating right now that are going to be able to amplify your success, because connection, collaboration, these are the things that I talk about, and you haven't really been aligned in that, or maybe you have been aligned with that. And if that's the case, then you're going to be really beautifully positioned for this. So this is so exciting. Like what are you thinking about when we talk about 2025? I'd love to hear in the comments. I'm going to come back, and I know that Nick and Linnell are out there. Like, do we have a lot of comments, or are we live with no one here?
I can see nothing. So I know we're live, but other than that, I'm sorry if you all are talking to us. We're not trying to ignore you.
Yeah, our plan was to go live in the events that I set up because I did it exactly the way Restream told me, and I've done this before. And then Krista was going to monitor the comments live, and then we had Nick on LinkedIn and we had Linnell on Facebook to be able to help us manage all this. But we're live somewhere, and we don't know, and we're so sorry. And I stopped recording when we were trying to muck around with the streaming. So I was going to record this so we'd have it. No, we don't have it. Don't worry. We have the first 10 minutes. Excellent. Excellent. I love that. So I am mindful of the time, which is totally fine. But I do just want to talk a little bit more about this precision and this alignment. And I'm just going to do it through story. So there's a client, she's a ruling warrior, right? So I adore my ruling warriors. I love you so much, but you're impatient, right? So anybody who's been following me a while knows, like in ruling warriors, I have to do it in one word, like boom, like one word, right? So I have this beautiful ruling warrior client who happens to be a double Gemini. And so what does that mean? She has tons of ideas. She wants to do all these things all the time, but she's a ruling warrior. So she's not like Krista. She's not willing to curate. She's not willing to take advantage of things. She wants the answer in 12 seconds or less. When I met her, she's a very successful stylist out in California. When I met her, it was right at the tail end of the first year of COVID, and she had just bought her studio or her salon. And so imagine the scenario that we were dealing with at the time. Overworking, like just like there were no ideas because there was just no time, right? And her biggest thing from a soul perspective was freedom. So she got the salon thinking that, oh, I'm going to have more freedom because I'm going to be the leading it, which she's really good at. And I'm going to have other people do the things and I'm going to make more money and I'm going to be able to take some time off. Well, didn't materialize then. So we put together a plan that was really great. Again, we had to step through it. Ruling Warrior Gemini, I swear to God, I had to like wrap her in like, I don't know what, in twine or something to get her to do this. But she knew enough that her soul was saying yes to this. So we were able to put a multi-year plan together, which we started off first with her being able to take a vacation. And then we put it so that she then took 8 vacations. By the time we got to 2023, she was on 8 vacations that we had set things up. Last year, her big thing was she wanted to carve out her calendar and her work days so that she only works 3 days a week now. And we did all of this, and her revenue never changed because we did it right. And her soul was wanting that ease and freedom. And then we put all the things together for her to be able to get that. And when I just met with her 2 days ago. And when we did, we then said, okay, year over year, you've had flat growth, but you've worked a third. So yay, you, right? She hasn't raised prices either. Like just, cost of living ones. She hasn't done anything material there. And so we put a plan together for her to raise her revenues by 20%. And I think that's going to be really conservative because with this Gemini energy and this major influx of things coming in, and the fact that her ruling warriorness was patient enough to do this beautiful construction underneath that, I think that's way conservative. I think we're gonna end the year and we're gonna be laughing to each other at the small numbers. They're not small, but like the small percentages that we used. I think it's fabulous.
That's some magic right there. Because on the flip side, what most people do is to try to raise their revenue by 20%, they work 3 times as much and then burn themselves out and wonder why they weren't able to raise their revenue. She was able to maintain, sustain while cutting the amount that she works. That is pure magic right there.
100%. And again, it was because this is what her soul wanted. Like literally top of every year, she's like, when can I take my vacations? I don't care what the stars do. Tell me when I can take my vacations. I'm like, okay. And we did massive planning around that. And this is where we were talking about having those ideas, but being able to build the structure behind them. She had the idea. If she didn't build the structure, we wouldn't have gotten there. So that's amazing. And so I just want to thank everybody who is actually here. I just adore you and I'm thanking you for all being here. And I want to let you know that I am going to be making an offer right now. So if that's not in the flow for you, beautiful flow, right? And you're not interested to hear how you can do some soul driving success, I adore you. And next time I go live, hopefully it will be in the event that I set up. Yes, and it won't be difficult to find us. But if not, if you're interested and you really want to be able to sink your teeth into that soul information, that what is your sun sign information? What are the stars really telling you from a power perspective? How can you actually set yourself up where your soul leads and success follows? Then I am here to talk to you about the Soul Driven Success Series, which we can thank Krista for the name. Let me just be perfectly clear. I am terrible about naming things, right? So like it's like making like this recipe that I have that's like chicken and thyme and like all these things, but my husband came up with a name for it. He's like chicken bacalana. Like he's like, and so everybody's like, oh, I want to come over for chicken bacalana, right? Like who doesn't want to come over for that? And I'm calling it the chicken with the thing and all the things and all the things. Yeah. So, Soul Driven Success Series, my friends. What is this all about? It is a series of workshops throughout the year that are, you get a guide that is a workbook that you get to fill out. We are doing, some teaching, but we're doing some self-reflection. We're putting things together with you and your sun sign and your energetic signature and your soul to be able to have you understand and appreciate basically two things: how to develop your intuition, and then how to have your soul lead. Because again, we're in uncharted territory. So I didn't want to leave people with I go live and that's great. And I have a great podcast, but you need to come in for 12 months and come into my beautiful Rich and Powerful Leaders Academy. And it requires a lot of, investment in whatever. I wanted to have a beautiful introduction so that you can dip your toe in. And so you can dip your toe in. There are 5 beautiful workshops throughout the year. They're live, they're not pre recorded. We are not going to just let you do like what everybody does and says you can have a pre recording and you're never going to watch it. We're not doing that. It's live. You get your questions answered at the time. Like I said, you have the guide, there's some teaching, and there's breakout if that makes sense, or there's self reflection time for you. There's beautiful ritual with this. And so you had a little glimmer, Krista, yesterday because I did it in our group, right? And so when I go through the success map, we're going to be doing the sun signs and how the sun travels through the year with the major star shifts. How do you think people will feel about that?
Oh, I feel like you do not want to go into the year without it. Seriously, yesterday it was so amazing to get to experience being there, but also when we did the breakouts and hearing everybody just in awe in the conversations and everyone saying, I'm so happy she told us this. It's, I feel like that's exactly what people need. And you're right. I mean, I do love it. It's just, I feel like it's such great access to your brilliant brain and insights, but really easy. Yeah, I feel like easy to fit into and commit to.
And this was my thing, right? Because it's again, this is a new piece of information for some people. It's an uncharted territory. I wanted something that was so invitational. So we start off that top of the year, and again, whenever you join, right? Like the top of the year is about building that success map that's based on your soul and understanding how your sun sign fits that. And then it's going in April, going and shining your brilliance and how to help you stop hiding. And then in June, it's all about reclaiming your power to stop giving your power away so you can really take advantage of all these opportunities. You heard about Kevin, like literally, it's based on my client work, right? And then on Lionsgate in August, I always do that activation for your prosperity, right? And so last summer when I did that beautiful remove money blocks in the new era, what was it? 40 participants made $249,000 in a week. Like this stuff is real, right? And then we go into this beautiful increasing your wealth so you really understand how to own your value. And so this whole 5 5 workshops, but then of course there are 2 bonuses because I just did a fireside chat with people right before the holidays and I listened to them. One of the first things they said, Krista, was they wanted more star peaks. So you and I had already talked about this and I'm like, okay, great. I can then make this more formalized. The other thing people talked about is I want to develop my intuition, and you have these great oracle cards. So I want to learn how to really use them. So I've added a bonus in March where I'm going to, around the equinox, where I'm going to help you use the oracle cards. And then biggest thing that people were saying, and I haven't done this in 2 years, or tarot readings. So I'm adding a tarot reading on October 29th. So it's going to be so much fun. So here we've got 7 times that we're meeting. And for right now, that normally would be $19.97, but I'm offering it for $9.97 for the entire year. And you can do 3 payments of $363. So that's like $1,100 worth of bonuses because for the first 10 people that sign up, we're going to send oracle cards to. Linnell's probably like spinning right now if she can hear me. She's like, great, that's perfect, Kim. That's awesome. I'm really glad we're going to do that. But because we're looking to see your soul is leading, how do you talk to your soul? It's through your intuition. Oracle cards are a really great way to have that conversation. The stars are a really great way to have that conversation. Your signature is a really great way to have that conversation. And then we never want to leave strategy behind because we want to make it real. So that's been it. If people can like put the link in, if there's anybody still here, it's kimwoods.com/events. You can find out more information for that. You can find out if this is something that you want to do. And if you're like, I'm not quite sure, just DM me and we'll have a conversation. So I adore going live with you, and I'm glad we did go live.
Yeah. And if any of you have questions about what it's really like on the inside, you can DM me too. And I am happy to tell you, but I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to say Kim is amazing. And I feel like you need to be there. So, but feel free to message me.
Thank you. Thank you. And seriously, thank you for people for finding us today right now. And thank you for staying here and hearing all the things. And I will go back with any of the comments and I'm going to go through every single comment and I will answer all the comments. So thank you so much. We adore you. And until next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Kim.
Okay, let's